Hello, everybody. I'm Rand Northam, Communications Manager for the town of Chapel Hill.
And I'm Maurice Jones, Town Manager for Chapel Hill.
And these videos give us an opportunity to recap some of the recent actions that the council has taken and give you a slight update. You can find all of the information about town council meetings on our website, of course. And the first thing we want to discuss today is the town's compensation and classification study results and a vote that the council took just recently. Of course, this work, Mr. Jones, has been in the works for multiple years now, in fact.
Yeah, years in the making here. A couple of years ago, we had a discussion with council about our concerns about where we were as an organization when it comes to compensation and our classification level, our pay ranges for our employees, because we felt we had fallen behind. And so council agreed to fund a study that would move us forward to get an understanding of where we were with our peer organizations here in North Carolina. We began that study about 2 years ago. It was right before the pandemic. I guess it was the fall of 19. We were making some headway in the study when all of a sudden the pandemic hit. And at that point, we decided to hold off on moving forward with the study until we had a better understanding of what the financial outlook was with the pandemic. And so we, feeling a little bit better last year in 21 about where we were, we restarted the study, brought that information back to our staff in the latter part of 21, and then re-engaged with council on this issue. And what we found with the study was that we were about 9% behind when it comes to pay compared to our peer organizations around the state of North Carolina. And so we wanted to take some important steps to help remedy that in order to retain our excellent employees here with the town of Chapel Hill and to be able to recruit excellent employees in the future. Brought that information to council in early January, and then a few weeks later, after discussing what our needs were and what the proposal was to address our current issues and then also to address compression issues within the organization, council formally adopted the study and provided funding to help us put that into place during this current fiscal year, and then also be responsive to future needs in future fiscal years as well.
As you're watching, if you're interested in the full report, you can find it on our website. Another thing that the council spent some time on is the SORAD support. This is something that is a county-wide effort, of course, and focuses in on a specific group of people in our community.
It does. It's the Street Outreach Harm Reduction and Deflection Program called SORAD. And what it does is it allows for peer navigators who are hired by Orange County to go out into the streets of Chapel Hill and engage with folks who are struggling. The folks who are struggling with, they may be struggling with homelessness or addiction issues, and these folks work with them to try to help them find housing and find access to services that will help them move forward. It's been a program that's been in place for a number of years now. And over the course of the last year, the SORAD peer navigators had worked pretty hard to help clients get housing, and then also, as I mentioned before, to get access to services. So a lot of interaction with those folks. And as part of the Reimagining Community Safety Task Force, the task force members had recommended providing some additional funding for the SORAD program from the town of Chapel Hill to Orange County to help fund another peer navigator position. We had that discussion with council. Council agreed to that and allocated funding to help ensure that we would have that fourth peer navigator in this current fiscal year. And then we'll have discussions about future years and the funding for that later on as part of our budget process. But these peer navigators are doing really important work here on Chapel Hill to find people, to give people the help that they need, and from a criminal justice standpoint, to help ensure that folks don't end up in the criminal justice system simply because of their struggles. So the SOHRAD program is really important to Orange County and to Chapel Hill, and the town council decided to provide some additional funding to get that fourth peer navigator position.
And the council got a lot of positive feedback at its council meeting in January from the community about this program in support of that as well. And our last item for recap today is about some important affordable housing projects that are on the docket for the council, and an important step moving those projects forward. And those were 2 ground lease agreements for Trinity Court and J Street.
Yeah, Trinity Court is a project where it's public housing that has been shut down for a number of years because of poor conditions at the apartment complex there. We are working diligently with the developer to move that project along. One important step in that process, which we've also taken with J Street, is to consider low-income tax credits for those projects. J Street is a project that is a new project that's going through the entitlement process right now, along with Trinity Court, to develop affordable housing on J Street. It is a town-owned property, and so with both of those properties, we needed to provide the opportunity for these 2 projects to qualify for low-income tax credits. One important step in that is the access to the land. In order to do the projects, the developers have to have ownership of the lands. What we brought before council was the opportunity to provide an option for them to gain the land if they were to get the low-income tax credit and the council were to approve the projects, because those projects are still in the entitlement process right now. No one has formally approved them. So right now what we're doing is what council has done is they've provided those options to those 2 developers who are working with us in order for them to even qualify for low-income tax credits. Because it's an option, at any point between now and a final decision, the town could say, no, we don't want to do this, and we're going to walk away from it, and the land would still remain with the town. So we haven't formally turned land over just yet. We're going to wait to see what happens during the entitlement process, and ultimately decisions that are made by the town council to move forward with those projects. But the reason why the low-income tax credits are so important is because if either one of those projects or both of those projects are approved for a 9% tax credit, that would mean less money that would have to come from other sources, like, for instance, the town of Chapel Hill, to help close the gap between what the developers can afford and what we would need in order for the projects to move forward. So it's pretty complex, but what we've done right now is council has said, yes, you can put those options forward. We'll see what happens with the low-income tax credits, and we'll also see what happens as these 2 projects move through the entitlement process and ultimately come back to council for approval later on this spring and summer.
Our community has multiple opportunities to find more about these projects. We've got them listed on our town website, including upcoming boards and commission meetings and our town council as well. You can find more information on our town council meetings on our website, as well as our town calendar. Until next time, thank you for watching and take care.
Be safe, everyone.